I'm quite a big fan of targeted supports and what that will unlock. I think for too long as an industry, the limit on providers to be able to help guide individuals as to what might be in their interest has been too fettered by a fear that they're going to stray into regulated advice. And that was a well-intentioned regulation, making them nervous around that. But the consequence of that is where they could give good advice to many people have not been able to. So I think what targeted support has done is accepted that there might be a small number that maybe do make the wrong decision, but actually the masses get to a much better result. And I think that's healthy and good. So I'm hoping that will be there. If I was Torsten, that would be my magic wand. And then finally, value for money for me is really critical within DC. For too long, again, very well intentioned, but we've had a big focus on how do we minimize costs of DC plans? How do we reduce that to an absolute minimum? And, as I say, that was well intentioned, but that's actually resulted in a really bad unintended consequence, which we've invested people into very low returning, very low risk asset classes that are lower cost, but not necessarily delivering. So I think let's make some progress on value for money, get people invested in net of fee, higher retirement outcome investing products. And I think that will go some way, not all of the way, but putting us in a better place for pensions for the future.
Well, if I were to turn my magic wand on myself, I would definitely pick you up on the value for money, because I do think that's really important. I do think we need to learn the lessons that Australia have made, the mistakes they've made probably around that policy, and make sure that we don't sort of end up with a sort of quarterly performance overemphasis and make it something that's long-term. My other one would be for people to grasp the contribution lever and do something about that. And I know that's obviously very tricky in the current economic growth environment, but you never know. The government could do something useful on that too. And I don't know, there's this big continent next to us that maybe we could get closer to. That might help growth. Obviously, don't expect you to comment on that, Paul, but that would be my tuppence. I think that's probably a great place for us to leave the podcast. So I just want to say thank you for being on the show, Paul. It's been great to have you on. Thank you for all your insights and giving us so much to think about in a mere 30 minutes. Listeners,